أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين. صدق الله العظيم. I recited before you Surah Al-Kafiroon, Surah regarding the disbelievers. This is a Makki Surah and it has 6 verses. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. It translates with the name of Allah, the All Merciful, the Very Merciful. Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, say, O disbelievers, I do not worship that which you worship, nor do you worship the one whom I worship, and neither am I going to worship that which you have worshipped, nor will you worship the one whom I worship, meaning in the future that I'm not going to worship that which you have worshipped, nor will you worship the one whom I worship. And neither in the future I am going to worship that which you have worshipped, nor will you ever worship the one whom I worship. For you is your faith, and for me my faith. Also, the deen can be translated as recompense. For you is your recompense, and for me my recompense. So this is a warning to the mushrikeen, polytheists, that regarding the consequences of their associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Moving forward, there are many virtues and characteristics of this surah. Our mother Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha reports that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said that it is better to recite 2 surahs in the Sunan prayer of Fajr, namely Surah Al-Kafiroon and Surah Al-Ikhlas, as mentioned in Tafseer al-Mazari. Ibn Kathir has cited many traditions in which a large number of Sahaba report that they heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam often recite Surah Al-Kafiroon and Surah Al-Ikhlas in the Sunan prayers of Fajr and Maghrib. Some of the companions requested our beloved Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to teach them some adiyat, some supplications to recite at the time of sleeping. He taught them Surah Al-Kafiroon and said that this will give you protection and immunity from idolatry. This hadith is reported in the Sunan of Imam Tirmidhi and Imam Abu Dawud rahimahullah. Sayyidina Jubair bin Mut'im radiyallahu anhu says that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked him whether he wished to be the happiest, most prosperous and well-to-do person among his companions when he'd go out on a journey, among his comrades when he goes out on a journey. He replied, "Yes, O Messenger of Allah, I certainly do wish that." The Prophet ﷺ asked him to recite the last 5 surahs of the Quran, starting with Surah Al-Kafiroon to the end, and to begin each surah with Bismillah and to end with Bismillah, meaning after the recitation of Surah Al-Nas at the end, to recite Bismillah again. Sayyidina Jubayr radiallahu anhu says that in those days he used to be distressed, miserable, and a man of little possessions for journeys compared to his comrades. But when he started acting upon this teaching of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he became even more prosperous than the others. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu reports that once a scorpion bit the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so he asked for water and salt. He applied the water to the wound on the spot where the scorpion had bitten him, and he recited Surah Al-Kafiroon, Al-Falaq, and Al-Nas. So these are some virtues of this surah. You should also try at the time of sleeping to recite Surah Al-Kafiroon, as well as Surah Al-Ikhlas and Al-Falaq wal-Nas, and blow on ourselves prior to retiring to bed and sleeping. And also on a journey we should recite the 5 surahs, Al-Kafirun, Al-Nasr, and Al-Ikhlas, and Al-Falaq wal-Nas with Bismillah at the beginning of each surah, and at the end of the recitation to recite Bismillah again, inshallah. We should try and bring these sunans and practices and teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam into our life. And moving on to the cause of revelation and the origin of this surah, Ibn Ishaq rahimahullah reports that Sayyidina Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, and he reported that Walid bin Mughira, As bin Wail, Aswad bin Abdul Muttalib, and Umayyah bin Khalaf approached the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this group of enemies of Islam, essentially polytheists, disbelievers, came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and proposed a compromise. They proposed to him to the fact that he should worship their idols for a year, and they would worship Allah for a year. And this is mentioned in Tafseer Al-Qurtubi. According to Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, as recorded in Tabarani, the pagans of Makkah proposed to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "We shall give you so much of wealth that you will become the richest man in Makkah. We shall give you whichever woman you like to in marriage. We are willing to follow and obey you as our leader on the condition that you do not speak ill of our gods. If you do not agree to this, then let us agree that you worship our gods for a year, and we would worship your God for another year," as is mentioned in Tafseer Muzhri. According to Abu Salih's report, Sayyidina Ibn Abbas narrates that the pagans of Makkah made the following proposal for compromise: "At least touch some of our gods, we will believe in you." Upon this, Jibreel alayhi salam descended with Surah Al-Kafiroon. So this is a surah of disapproval and turning away from the actions of the pagans, and enjoining the Muslims to be steadfast, be mustaqim upon the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, to the exclusion of all forms of pagan worship. So the traditions, the hadith cited above, and that served as the Shani Nuzul, as the cause of revelation above, indicate that the pagans had made many proposals on many occasions to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it wasn't one single occasion. On different occasions and in different sessions, they approached him in hope that at one time or another a compromise might be reached. So hence there was a need to respond to the proposals with a definite answer and with decisiveness, and thus to make them lose all hope and ever turning the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's attention towards polytheism, towards pagan, the ways of the pagan Arabs. So all these incidents might have taken place at different times, and different places. The purpose of the surah is to prevent and prohibit the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and essentially you and I, from any such compromise, that the worship of one God and being a muwahid, and polytheism cannot go hand in hand. They're completely different, and no compromise is possible, and it is an encouragement and inducement upon us to remain steadfast upon the worship of one Allah alone, and turn our backs to any form of associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this was pretty much, we covered the virtues, characteristics of the surah, Surah Al-Kafiroon, and the origin of the surah, and inshallah we'll discuss further the tafsir in the next session, the tafsir of the surah. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولكافة المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور